do an introduction, but before I do, can I ask everyone please to mute yourselves until a later point at which you may want to ask questions. If you do see something, hear something from any of the other speakers that you would like to ask a question about, the best thing to do is to put it in the chat. If you put your questions in the chat, I will be monitoring the chat while everyone else speaks, and I will either call you to give your question, or if there are several people with the same question, I will put the question to them at the end. So this is just a way of ensuring that the meeting takes a more orderly path. It's not to try and stop anyone from saying things, but just to make it go a little bit more smoothly. Somebody has just mentioned it, but I'll say it again so that it's official. This is being recorded, so people do know that. And if you don't wish to be recorded, you can always switch off your visual and then you won't be seen. And if you don't say anything, then we won't hear it either. But I suspect that most people will be very happy with it, and it will provide a useful information for clubs who aren't able to be here. So I will say welcome now to everyone. I'm delighted at the turnout we've got, which indicates that we were right to think of doing a seminar like this, and I'm very glad that all the speakers who are going to talk have agreed to do it. What prompted it is the realization that it's likely that online bridge is going to be going on for longer than people had imagined, and therefore that some clubs who previously haven't thought it was appropriate for them may be reconsidering, and we would like to encourage other clubs and counties to assist them in doing that and to provide them with information. We're particularly keen that counties may be able to pass down training to TDs and information for online games. So that's sort of the background to it. I will pass over to Jax as soon as she's ready, and she's going to be the main person. Then there are others as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon, and good morning to everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you'll be able to see that screen share. Somebody shout if they can't. Gordon's already mentioned this, but just to reiterate, if you're not speaking, can you please ensure that you are muted? It will just help with any background noise, particularly as this is being recorded. You use the chat function, as Gordon's mentioned, and he will pull up any of those questions at the end of the meeting and ask you to speak. Then you can unmute yourself. During the question and answer session, if you haven't asked your question in chat during this during the actual speaking part, you can raise a hand. You can do that in two ways. You can do it in your chat, but in the participant bar in your Zoom meeting controls that we've just talked about. Douglas has shown you how to find, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and just raise your hand up against the camera. And then Gordon will select whoever has a raised hand, and you can unmute yourself and then can ask a question. That's the boring bit out of the way. I'm just going to run through the agenda today. Firstly, Jonathan is going to be updating you on the background and the current position regarding virtual clubs. Then I'm going to take a look at the available platforms and the training options. And this is from a county perspective. I'm Suffolk's Chief Tournament Director and have been involved in the rollout of virtual clubs within my county. And then Anne Edwards from Ipswich and Kesgrave is going to give you a club viewpoint from Ipswich and Kesgrave. And then Douglas is going to be speaking about Bridge Club Live, virtual clubs from the perspective of 3 counties. And then you'll all have opportunity to ask as many questions as you like. So it's now over to Jonathan, who is going to start.
And having muted myself, I now need to remember to unmute. Thanks, Jax. So good morning, everyone. My name is Jonathan Lillicrop. I'm the EBU Club Liaison Officer. I think I've spoken to a lot of you about online bridge and other things over the last few months. Yeah, just like to add my welcome. I know that we do have some I think we have some unaffiliated clubs who have also joined us, so I hope this is useful for them as well. So with regards to the current position, obviously in March, all the clubs closed face-to-face. And at that point, there weren't really any online platforms offering sort of private club games where clubs could play a normal duplicate session restricted to their members and invited guests. But it became evident very quickly that there was a demand for that. And so the EBU, working with BBO, launched virtual clubs in April. I think we were only the second MBO after the States to have that, which was great. And we saw a huge amount of uptake on that. Particularly over the first few months, the uptake was huge, and we've now got we're sort of 6 months in now, and we've got over 260 clubs signed up for the virtual clubs on BBO. So that's a huge success, and that means lots of clubs are obviously playing online, which is fantastic. But we're conscious that there are still lots more clubs who either aren't playing at all or aren't playing duplicate. I know some are playing teams and pairs leagues, or they're just playing casual bridge, and that's obviously great. I mean, it's good that people are able to play in whatever form, but we want to help clubs to be able to play duplicate where they would like to. And as Gordon has mentioned, that's why we wanted to have this meeting, to help people, and also to mention some of the new platforms that are coming online, because for the last 6 months, it's really been, well, certainly BBO was the first, but there are now some other platforms that are becoming available, BCL, StepBridge, and soon RealBridge. So we'll be talking more about each of those a little bit later. So yeah, I mean, I think we have seen, in terms of how clubs have got up and running, a few things that we've seen. We've seen that some clubs have obviously just gone ahead and done it themselves. Some smaller clubs have joined together, and that may be something that smaller clubs want to consider, or even just sort of where there's not necessarily smaller clubs, but just clubs where they're sort of in the same area and lots of the members know each other anyway. It may make sense for clubs to join together for online play. That can also help with having trained TDs, if you're obviously one less TD required if you play together. And then the other thing, on the subject of the TDs, obviously some clubs have trained people from within their club, and some have used paid TDs, so there is that option there as well. Okay, so I think that's probably enough for me, and it'd be good to hear some real life examples. As Jack said, we'll be hearing from Anne Edwards, who Ipswich and Kesgrave, who have been using BBO, and then from Douglas Wright at Three Counties Bridge, who's been using BCL. So I will hand over to Anne.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm from Ipswich and Kesgrave Bridge Club. So we're in Suffolk, and we are a rural county, effectively. So we don't have, there's no privately or explicitly owned bridge club in our area. We all play in village halls. we all play. We can play every night of the week, but you have to travel around the county to do so. So our club normally meets once a week on a Thursday evening. We are early adopters of Bridge Play Online. We only closed our club for 2 weeks after the lockdown while we took a breath and tried to understand how we were going to get through the next few months, realizing that probably we were going to be in it for quite a long time. So we took up initially, we started playing, we chose BBO, and we chose BBO for various reasons. One, it was probably the only one that was really easily available for us at that time. And in the beginning, we ran free sessions because that was what was available. And it took us about just a couple of weeks until we realized, or maybe a little bit longer, 3 weeks perhaps, until we realized that we could actually have a license from the EBU to run our own event properly. And that would mean that we had paid for events. But the payment, because membership of BBO is free, we were able just simply to charge more or less the same amount of table money. We charge $3 BBO per game per member. And that equates to the £2.50 that our members normally play when they sit down at a table in our village hall. So the cost was not too different. We also found that because BBO was available, there were lots of different ways in which people could try out bridge within BBO itself. They could go and have practice games on their own, they could play with friends. So it was reasonably easy for them to actually begin to take part in the online bridge process, which frankly, for most of our members was quite a big shock. We have an age profile which is rather typical of bridge clubs across the entire county. I'm sure you have the same sort of age profile. It's a rising age profile. And not everybody in our club by any means is able to easily manipulate computers. And that continues to be an ongoing problem. And I think that's an ongoing problem no matter what kind of bridge platform you use. So it's down to the club. And it's down to the club committee to enable people to have access to help, support, training. And I found the most fundamental thing of all with all of this is communication. You have to communicate with your members. You have to run a system where they can easily get in touch with you, where they can easily find access to help, and where you have an open and willing team of people who are prepared to assist as and when necessary. So that's the route we've gone down, and that's where we are. We've had quite a bit of success with this. We initially started with our own club, but again, because of the nature of Suffolk, we have overlapping members. So we have members in our club who are also members of at least 2 or 3 other clubs in the local area. And because that's so, there's an automatic cross-fertilization of club members into our online game. And we didn't restrict anybody in the end. We thought a little bit about it, but we decided that as long as people registered with us to play online, and all our registration forms are on our website, then as long as they registered with us, then we were prepared to have people play. So we now have in total, just get my data, we now have 154 players registered to play in our online game. And we are averaging just over 18 tables per week at the moment, and we have been for most of the year. So it has been a success, but we do have players from our neighbouring counties, but primarily from the Suffolk region itself. But our Suffolk region is pretty wide, but because it's online, they don't have to get in their cars and travel. They can just log in on a Thursday evening and play. In addition to all of that, we now also run a couple of other things which have helped support the online process. One of these is online seminars, which are run by 2 of our club members who run that on every couple of weeks. And we also have a learning program. We run our classes online. Jax runs one of our classes, and we have another one of our members who runs a different teaching group. And we now run a relaxed pairs session on a Monday evening, as well as our normal pairs event on a Thursday evening. And we are finding it's quite straightforward. we have elderly members playing who I didn't ever believe would actually have to get behind a computer to play in an online club. But I think our oldest active member is 91, and who is not an expert computer operator at all, but has taken it up and run with it and is thoroughly enjoying her bridge. I would say that in terms of those of you who haven't tried it yet or who are not offering it to your members within the county, we have had a huge number, big response from people saying, thank goodness we can get together, thank goodness we can play bridge. I don't feel so lonely anymore. And for that reason, I think that it's worthwhile you all having a go, but just communicate. That's what my big message is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, well, let's move on to Douglas to talk about BCL. As Jax has said, there'll be plenty of opportunity at the end to ask any questions.
I will unmute myself. Good morning, all. My name is Douglas Wright, and I run a small organisation called Three Counties Bridge, which is predominantly a teaching environment and an affiliated club. And I'm also a trustee of the English Bridge and Education Development Trust. I would like to, in essence, share information with you about what we have done in terms of going online. And I would like to share with you lots of screens so that you can see what we've done going online and how you may wish to use some of what we've done if you so wish. I hope I've been allowed to actually share my screen. And what happens is that it's quite straightforward. I go for a share screen, and the first thing I'll do is share it, and you can all give me a thumbs up if you wish to say, believe it or not, you can actually see my screen. Give me a thumbs up, everybody, that you can see my screen. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. Now, there's various bits about what I'm going to cover is, first of all, if I just show you Three Counties Bridge, you are all familiar with your own BridgeWeb's website. You're all familiar with what functionality it has. And in exactly the same way, we have gone online. So lo and behold, we're doing Children in Need, charity sim pairs online. People can come see and play bridge online. We have supervised play sessions online. We have play sessions, which are improver pairs, assisted pairs, duplicate pairs, etc. We've gone a few stages further with online work, which is, why not have Saturday morning coffee mornings with people, get people together. Anne's message of communication with your members is so important that just enable people to get together and socialize. And if they want to play 8 hands of cards, let them do so. And that's what we do on Saturday coffee mornings. We've even had supper parties as well. So it is a social aspect online. And lo and behold, if I then leave, I might come back to the Three Counties Bridge, but we have used, in essence, a platform called Bridge Club Live. And we're not the only ones who've used Bridge Club Live. Oh, by the way, if you want any links of anything I show, I can copy the links into the chat function, which you can then look at later. So please message me afterwards as well. So if I want to see what's going on, play bridge, well, let's look at members and clubs. And lo and behold, there's about 200 clubs who actually play or try playing on Bridge Club Live. If I go back to the home page for a second, there are 49 clubs who are actually playing duplicate online and running 64 sessions a week. And they're submitting their results to the EBU, they're paying their UMS if they so wish, etc., etc. And lo and behold, if I go back to members, clubs, you could shout out and I could actually refer to your club. But if I just look at what I call the 3 Counties Bridge Club, well, you can see all the members who are there. We only have 115 members. But if I went to another club, for example, and I went to the Farnham Bridge Club, they've got 32 members. If I went to another club, for example, the Bourne Bridge Club in Farnham, UK, they got 87 members. And what have they done over the last 6 months? Well, they've encouraged their members to play in whatever form of bridge that their members would like to do. And if I go back to the home page of Bridge Club Live, and I just, for those who haven't been on Bridge Club Live, it is quite a straightforward, friendly sort of environment. That ugly face is me, by the way. You can see me, Douglas. But I'm currently in the lobby and there's people playing some social bridge. They play match points bridge. There's a superb coaching corner for people to learn. And you can play teams of 4, etc. There's leagues run and anything you like. So I could exit that. And lo and behold, I'm going to not focus on the Bridge Club as opposed to the teaching area. The teaching area is where lots of teachers, and there's a teacher here in this meeting here, Ken Johnson, he uses the teaching area like myself. And I'm sure there's other teachers amongst you who examine the teaching area. But let's stick with the club issue. The important thing is, if I go to here, you can get all your members on Bridge Club Live, if they're EBU members, and just go to this link and you can start a free trial on Bridge Club Live within 2 minutes. It's as simple as that. You don't have too much information to fill out, but all members could have a 50-day free trial. Likewise, there's some further information on the EBU website about Bridge Club Live. But the important now is not only are there all their rooms which people can play bridge in, but now Bridge Club Live now provide the face-to-face virtual sessions for online clubs. Using a dedicated server for each club, Bridge Club Live offers a choice of start time, etc., etc. Any size of club, 3 tables upwards, which isn't too bad. All you've got to do is click on here and you could have a session running within 48 hours. I will pause there and let me think what I would like to cover. The coaching in Bridge Club Live. Let's go back to there, bridge, enter bridge. Coaching corner, there's nobody in the coaching corner at the moment. But the brilliant thing is the coaching corner is free for people, 9 a.m. on a Monday, 9 p.m. on a Monday. And there's a whole host of volunteer coaches who will actually train people up on playing on the platform. Let's look at the output of something. I'm going to, if I want to actually play in the face club, which we have done for a while, we play various sessions, and the best thing to do is to actually, which you're all familiar with. I think in terms of results, you're familiar with the results on Bridge Webs, hopefully. My system's a bit slow. It is trying to get there. I could go to latest results and see if that's any quicker. My Mac is slow. Trevor, can you speed up my Mac for me? Right, what I'm going to do, oh, there we go, lovely. Okay, and I'm going to go back to results. Here we go. You can see typically the results on a Bridge website, and these have all been played on Bridge Club Live. We have improver pairs, which are 16 boards. We have assisted pairs, which are 12 boards. We have duplicate pairs, which are 20 boards. And lo and behold, if, for example, I went to the last improver pairs, which we played on Tuesday, the 13th of October, and we looked at that there for a second, this will all be familiar to you. The system, Bridge Club Live, automatically loads up your results to your Bridge Webs platform, so your members can continue playing bridge in exactly the same way as they did before. So if I just click on a pair there, and I believe my link to the share has stopped. Can people confirm, Jonathan?
Yes, we can't see anything. We've just got you.
Good. Can I try another share?
Yes, sure.
Is that now working?
Yeah, we can see that now.
You can see that, everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I'll have a word with BT. But lo and
Might
behold,
help if you close some of your windows.
say again?
I said it might help if you close some of your windows at the top.
Okay. All right. And so if you're familiar with Bridge Webs and the results which you normally get, here's a set of results. But the great thing is also you can actually do lots of analysis as well. For example, if I went to why did Nadia and Nishat, who were playing East-West, awful result on board 3. Obviously, we can go to board 3 and we can say they bid 4 hearts where everybody else would spades. But lo and behold, if I do look at that, you can actually go to Bridge Solver online and do your usual analysis for determining that Nadia and Nishat actually bid correctly, but unfortunately they gave the opposition one too many tricks. I'm going to stop that there. Finally, what most clubs love to do is run charity events. Farnham, Bourne, 3 Cambridge are running a charity event. The unusual charity is basically a qualifying heat and a final on a Sunday. It is for a very worthwhile charity, the Phyllis Tuckwell, but whatever charity event that you would like to run within your normal club environment, hopefully it can be run on Bridge Club Live. I will stop there.
Well done.
Obviously, I'm happy to take
Thank
questions.
you.
I'll leave that to Jonathan to manage and for Gordon to manage as well. I will stop the share.
Excellent. Thank you, Douglas. So just to So yes, as Anne and Douglas have said, BBO and BCL both have developed options where you can run club games, and obviously they have other ways of playing as well with the casual play and teaching and so forth. Just to mention a couple of other platforms, StepBridge is one that is available and is a cheaper option. I'm not currently aware of clubs in England using it, but it is available and it is being quite widely used by clubs in Wales. If anyone does have experience of using it, then I'd be interested to hear about that. The other option, which is getting quite a lot of attention at the moment and isn't quite ready, but will be very soon, is RealBridge. The big difference of RealBridge is that it includes audio and video. So you will be able to, when you are sat at the table, you will be able to speak to your opponent and your partner using the microphone and speakers on your computer, and also see the other people at the table using the camera on your computer. So you have little video feeds of the other players. I've used it myself, and the EBU ran some trial games recently, and the feedback has been very positive. I think it feels a lot more like playing face to face when you can talk and see other people. So I think that will be that will certainly be an option that is coming online soon. And if you go to the RealBridge website, which you can find us by Googling RealBridge, there is an email address on there for you to contact them and express interest if that's something that your club would be interested in doing. That's given you hopefully given some Trevor's just posted in the just before we move on. Trevor's just said which platforms provide genuine Swiss Howl and Mitchell movement. So I'll talk about Swiss movements briefly. So in terms of more complicated events such as Swiss pairs and Swiss teams, which aren't handled brilliantly by BBO, so certainly RealBridge can handle those much better, and that's a big part of why we will be using RealBridge for the Autumn Congress this weekend, because for those kinds of more involved events, it does work better. That may be less relevant for regular club duplicates in the main. So I'm now going to hand over to Jax, who is going to share some information regarding training and other things.
I will. I'll just sum up briefly and talk from a county's perspective and training options that may be open to you and something that is worth exploring. So I'm Suffolk's Chief Tournament Director, and I was involved in the rollout of virtual clubs from March. And this strapline, which hopefully you can all see on your screen, Online Bridge was the only game in town, was used by our county on our website from the beginning. Because we really, as Gordon said at the start, we thought it would be initially a short-term move, but now it appears we're in it for the long term. So it is a good point to be revisiting virtual clubs, what they can offer and what options and training are open to you. So we know what the benefits are, but it is worth reiterating those things, adding them together. Reconnecting with your membership is going to be incredibly important, isn't it, over the winter? We look like we're in for a fairly difficult run, a challenging time for all of us. And so that reconnection and rebuilding our bridge communities is looking increasingly important for everybody. As Anne has already spoken and said eloquently, that virtual clubs not only allow you to rebuild your own bridge community, but it can widen those communities and increase them too. This is a personal experience. I also teach, as Anne said, and I run supervised play. And for those of you that are involved in the teaching element, virtual clubs do make it very much easier for you to teach and to run supervised play sessions. It's immensely difficult without those. Generating income goes without saying, I don't need to say that. So in Suffolk, we had a systematic approach to our training. I'm very lucky within the county. I have a lot of support within with my committee, and we're there to help our clubs. And so we had this approach to training. It's slightly more difficult now because, as Jonathan has said, we have an increased choice. When I started this back in March, there was limited choice in terms of platforms, but now the market has expanded, and you have BBO, BCL, Stepbridge, Wheelbridge, Sharpbridge. It's not exhaustive. So how do you go about choosing the platform that's right for you in terms of your club? Well, that comes down to your own members' requirements, clearly, and the limitations of your club. You know, what available resources do you have? Not only the people that are running your club for you, the directors and the scorers and the website managers, the people that are collecting money, your accounts, your people that are helping you out. Some platforms you need to collect the money, some are at source. These are all questions that are very important and need answering. Also, who's going to train your members? Anne's already spoken. Age, I don't think, is a complete barrier, but some people need more help than others. Do you have people within your club that can help your members get online? So it's about asking these questions and finding out what's right for you. I'm certainly within the county never going to be telling anyone what they should do and what platform they should use. But what I want is to allow them to ask the right questions so they can find the right solution for themselves. So how can we help you with that? Well, Jonathan's already spoken, and you know, within his role, he's helped everybody and is there for support. But there is, he has prepared, there is this comparison document that has been prepared that maybe you would like to look at to give you an informed choice, to ask the right questions and be able to compare like with like in terms of the platforms that are available. So you know the questions to ask and know the pitfalls, and you can go to your members and find out what's right for you. There are loads of non-interactive training resources. A lot of the training for virtual clubs, obviously some of it has to be face-to-face, but not everything. And so there's a wealth of help out there, documents and videos that can be sent out to you that you can look at in advance. And having the right contacts, knowing who to speak to, putting you in the right hands to move forward. Obviously, Jonathan can help with that. But your county association can also be enormous help with that. That's what we have been doing within Suffolk, and it's certainly worth contacting your county association to see if there's free training available for you. They will also enable ongoing support in whatever platform or path you choose. They will be there to help you. Collaborating with local clubs, we've already talked about this, that actually if you don't have those resources available to you within your own club, you may have clubs around you that you can collaborate with and pool resources. This is so important. Your local county may be able to help you with that and put that together. Inter-club director contacts. The one thing that's a great benefit starting now, not starting earlier, is there's so many more clubs up and running virtually. There's a lot of help out there. Lots of people, when they play in their own club, they want to play and they don't want to be directing. And so you can have a support network where you can help other people at other clubs, maybe direct their sessions and allow them to play in their own sessions and vice versa. So there's a wider source of collaboration because there's so many more people that have actually embraced virtual clubs and opened. So this is just a Suffolk rollout program. This is what we did. Your county may do the same, but it's certainly worth approaching them. We work on a basis of observation to start with. Now, there are so many virtual clubs running that surely the opportunity for you to just join in a training session, observe what's going on and see for yourself whether that works for you. The opportunities, I'm sure, are available. So contact them, ask them if you can simply come and see what it's like, and then you can make informed choices. Training has to be one-to-one at a certain level. In Suffolk, we sit with you and we run the events for you, then we run the events while you do it, and then we support in the background and we become hot standbys. We're on the phone always, and able to step in and give assistance when it's there. So your county may be also able to help you this way. We've all talked about communication, and I don't need to say any more. I think the outcome from this meeting is communication is so vital. It's a fluid market. What we're talking about in terms of platforms and availability today will be changing next week. And we just need to be in contact with each other and keep abreast of those circumstances so that we can also move forward with our clubs. Certainly, as far as Suffolk is concerned, I've been contacted by surrounding counties that haven't been able to get the support they want, and we are there and we will support people if we have the bandwidth. We have a duty of care to our own clubs, but if we have the bandwidth to help others, we would certainly do so. Contact your counties and see what help is available for you and training, and let's all help each other. And I think that's everything. It's over to Gordon for question and answers.
Right. There are quite a lot of questions that have come in that have either been answered or perhaps were more informative rather than questioning. So I won't necessarily cover everyone. But if you feel you've been missed out and you do want to say something, then by all means tell us at the end. The first thing I was going to raise, Barry asked if there was a site where clubs can register that they wish to join other clubs playing online. I'm not aware of that yet, but I do want to point out that we have the EBU forums, and I've put the link in the chat so you can see where you can find them. So you could certainly put a post up there asking about other clubs. It may be clubs that are in your area, or it could be interesting to work with clubs who run games at the same time as you. A small club, two small clubs running games at the same time might work very well together. And then the other thing is that counties may well wish to coordinate this. They're probably better at doing it than we centrally are, because they will have better information about the clubs. So hopefully that's an answer to that. And then there was another point made by Dickon from the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man are in a different situation from most of us in that they're able to play online, play face-to-face games because of their COVID situation being different, being an island. But he's made the point that they still want to run online games as well, and I think that's something that will be very common going forward, that it won't simply be a matter of switching off online games and going back to face, particularly since there will be some people who are less confident about going to play face even when the games first start. So that was a very good point. Gail Webb has made a couple of points. I don't know, Gail, if you're able to unmute yourself to say something here. Gail, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yep, great. You made a couple of points here.
I can't think what comments you were meaning, Gordon. I was simply saying that I have two hats on today for Wiltshire, where we set up Online Bridge right back in April, and we're using paid directors. Works very, very well. We've run several different tournaments. We did a Swiss teams. We've done a under nines, etc., etc. That all works very smoothly. And then I also set up the Warminster Club as a virtual club, which I direct myself. Somebody did put in a comment that they felt you have to be very technical difficult to run these things. I am not an IT person at all, and yet I was able to set up the virtual club and run it myself. So don't be afraid of trying it. It really is not difficult. So mine was really just more passing on what we've done, Gordon. I don't think.
That's great. Thank you. Julia from Yorkshire has raised a question about the different platforms and information. I don't know whether that question still stands, given that we've heard a little bit about all of them. Do you want to say, there was somebody else followed on from that as well, Smith Shah. Do you feel these questions have been answered, or do you want to ask?
I mean, Gordon, just to pick up on that, I mean, we do have a comparison document that needs a bit of updating, but I can do that, and then we can share it via the website, because I think probably what people are saying is that it'd be useful to see a sort of side-by-side tick box comparison of which have got which features, as Jax was saying, in terms of different charging models, how easy it is for directors to play, and what level of director training is needed, and the different movements available on different platforms and costs. So I can produce something on that, and we can share it via the website.
Good, thank you. Keith Spencer's got a question about when we might start playing face-to-face. Are you there, Keith?
Good morning, Gordon. Yes, I'm concerned you keep saying it's going to take longer before we play face-to-face. We were advised back in April this year that we were very unlikely to play face-to-face until at least May of next year. Anyway.
Who were you advised that by?
We have a member of our county bridge club that works high up within the NHS system, and they said that they thought, with their professional opinion, we would not be able to play before May of next year.
Okay, well, when I've said later than we expected, I was not expecting that it would be as late as May. I think most of us have hoped and expected that it would come much sooner, and it's been going back. When we started in March, I think most of us thought of 3 months. As time's gone on, it's got further and further away. So when I said longer than we expected, I didn't start with an expectation of next May. You, with that expectation, may find that you're less disappointed.
Okay, thank you. May I say one other thing? Anne from Ipswich, I agree with most of what she said. Because we have clubs that do not have their own premises, I tend to belong to 3 different bridge clubs, and I have actually trained people at all the bridge clubs on how to use BBO. It is not as difficult as I was led to believe it was going to be to start with. So I would encourage people to do the training and run drives on BBO. It is not that difficult.
Thank you. Now I've
Can I just make one point here? Adam Weisberg from Manchester has done a lot of YouTube videos on BBO. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Adam, and it's accessible for anybody. And he's also now starting to run real bridge sessions.
Yes, indeed. Martin Ahern, you've got a question about joining with non-affiliated clubs. Martin, do you want to ask the question, or shall I just read it out?
Oh, sorry, it was more of a suggestion that obviously club membership certainly around this area, I know of several clubs that aren't EBU clubs. I've reached out to one that I've played at myself to say, you know, you're more than welcome to come and join us on our virtual club that we play once a week. So it just might be an opportunity, if people haven't done that already, to reach out to those, and who knows, that might be a source of new members.
Absolutely, we've definitely found it has been it has been working exactly like that, and we would be happy for it to do more so in 2 different ways. One is that some non-affiliated clubs have become affiliated simply in order to have access to the virtual club games on BBO and to run them, and then quite a lot of members of non-affiliated clubs have started playing either in affiliated clubs or in EBU games and have joined the EBU. So during the last 6 months, we've had a significantly greater greater increase of affiliations and of memberships than we would normally have expected. And we're very happy that we're able to show people in non-affiliated clubs that some of the things that they've heard about EBU games may not be exactly accurate. So we're delighted to welcome them, and I think it's a great idea to try and get more people to do that. Nicholas Pawson has asked me to ask him to unmute and ask a question. So Nicholas.
Thank you, Gordon. Sorry, I'm a new member of a bridge club, and when lockdown happened, one of our members set up virtual players, and we all play on the virtual session, although it's not officially through the bridge club. And the question, and I know it affects other clubs, is a fee that's due to the EBU, because it's not being played in or at the club. It's not actually officially under the club. And I know you're in dispute with several clubs about this issue. Whether you will become in dispute with a club which I'm a member or not is unknown at the moment. But I think this needs to be settled, because if it isn't settled, then people will have to disaffiliate to make sure there's not an increase in contingent liability. And I would suggest that the idea is that if people are playing virtual bridge but want to remain affiliated to the EBU, then they should pay a higher affiliation fee. And if they're playing in any competition to which they want to issue master points, then that is declared and paid in a normal way. So that's my suggestion. And I don't know what other people here today are feeling and how you're dealing with this centrally.
I missed the most important part of what you were saying, because I was trying to look ahead to who would be asking questions further. You said something, the first thing I heard was that we're in dispute with clubs. What about what?
Well, I've heard that from several clubs, but you're saying people should be paying you the levy that's paid for each person who plays in a normal EBU, so normal competition held in or at the club. But of course, these virtual ones are not being held in or at the club. And in several cases, including our club, and I'm not saying you're on dispute with our club at the moment, it was actually set up by a member of the club who then invited all the club members to join him. No master points were issued, etc., etc. But the results were then posted on our bridge web, but it wasn't actually held in or at the club. So therefore, no levy is due. But I think
no, I have to dispute that, because our advice is that it is, and the wording of in or at does not limit it. We will, of course, be clarifying this at the AGM next month, so that nobody can even be in that little bit of doubt. But all of our online virtual clubs on BBO, and I believe all the clubs running their own games on BCL are submitting, and they are paying UMS. And UMS is not just a charge for master points and for NGS, it's a charge for it's a subscription to the national organisation. So that is the case, and that will continue to be the case. We are currently undergoing a consultation with clubs about whether the way in which UMS is charged should vary from what it has been, to take account of the differences with online and face-to-face bridge. But that's already going on, and it will all be clarified at the AGM next month.
But I think in or at has legal definitions, but also since in several cases it was set up by a member of the club privately rather than through the club, then it isn't actually the club.
I don't believe we're in dispute with anyone in that position. So if you want to tell me about this dispute afterwards, then by all means do. But I don't recognise from your description that there's anything that fits that at all.
Well, that's good news. So if you do ask for money for the clubs that are doing that, then I assume you're saying that since it's done by somebody who's not in the club, who's not on behalf of the club, then no levy would be due.
All affiliated clubs who are running online games are required to play UMS, and we have been making that point, and we have one club with whom we're currently under discussion, and another one who we may be soon, but that's all. I'm sure that the clubs who are here running games will be aware of that and will be submitting their sessions in the usual way. But as I say, it's being reviewed and it will be discussed at the AGM next month. Sorry, I've got a bit distracted from the list down here, so I'm looking to see. Following on from this, John Oakland has asked, is there an additional cost implication for non-EBU affiliated players playing at an EBU affiliated club? The answer is no, they pay exactly the same amount and that amount gets passed on to the EBU. All that's happening is they're not gaining the benefits that they would do.
Okay, thank you.
Same. Sorry, I've lost. List has got large. Right. I've gone through most of the ones that I think were needed answers or needed to speak. So maybe we can open it now to anyone. If you've got a question that hasn't been covered, or if I've missed you out, if you would like to raise your question now. We've got about 5 minutes left. Ian Dovey, I can see your hand.
Yes. I represent Nottinghamshire CBA. What's happened this morning is really interesting. A lot of it reflects what's happened in Nottinghamshire. What no one has dealt with is the fact that I estimate only about 35% of players are playing online. So the question is, how do we get people past the technology barrier or fear and playing online?
I'm not sure that anyone will have any quick and easy answers. One of the ways is by doing what we're doing here and hoping that more clubs will start to run games and also that clubs will share information. One of the things that we recommended in the very early days, which I think did have a good effect, was to get one member of the club who's used to playing online to play a casual game with 3 people who are not used to it. And BBO is quite good for that because it's free and you don't you just go on, you play a casual game, and getting people past that barrier. So I think it's something that clubs and counties maybe could try again, see if you've got people who would be willing to give up a bit of time to help others to get over that initial fear, because they really need to do that first before they can come and play in a more formal game. Jax, I think, has got something to say here.
Yes, Ian, it's a really good point. I sort of approached this when I started in a different way. I, first of all, had a tutorial, just like we're having today, for our playing members. In order for them to come in, and I demonstrated how to get onto, it was BBO then, but whatever platform you want to play in, just so people had a flavour, and then had people, individuals within clubs that would take those that needed that extra bit of hand holding. I've also been approached by some of our clubs in Suffolk from people that have said, look, I can't direct and I can't score, but I really want to help out. And I'm really happy to take people individually as Gordon said. So it's worth asking your members to see if you have anybody in there that's willing to do that. And you can actually have a meeting like this and get the message out there to everybody en masse and then break it down onto individual tables of 4 later. But it's a good point to raise.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay.
We've got a written question about robots. It says from Michael Green. Is that who I know as Nick Green? Do you want to raise that question, Michael Green? No? It just says that robots are...
Yeah, I've just unmuted myself. Yes, it is. Gordon. Hi. I still feel there's on BBO, my experience is just BBO, not the other platforms. But I still feel that robots, in terms of a half table, having to put 2 robots in for a half table, is putting people off and indeed putting clubs off. Obviously, as you know, some clubs are organising standby pairs to come in and fill up an empty seat, empty half table, if that one exists, and then to log off if there's an even number, to avoid robots. But that causes problems with people going on rotas, volunteering to play. So it's quite disruptive, and I think it would be quite an advantage if, for instance, BBO was to enable half tables to exist, so we didn't have to use robots as much.
I believe that is possible now.
Yes, it's possible, Gordon, and you can run half tables.
I thought so. Robots do have, I mean, I understand that some people don't like them and we don't have them in all of our games, although we do always use them to fill in, but they do have great advantages. First of all, that they're always available. Secondly, that they never storm out in the middle of a game because they're unhappy with what their partner has done, which does happen more when people are making up a table than in other instances. So not having them at all, I think, would be detrimental. I'm surprised that people would rather sit out for a round than play a round against robots. But if that's the case, then that's what clubs can decide to do.
Gordon,
sorry, I didn't realise that half tables, you could play with half tables on BBO. When does that come into force?
Just can I
think
Jonathan, answer that question, and then we'll
want me
move
to
on.
answer it, Gordon? It's Adam.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Okay, you simply don't fill the table. Simply put 2 players in, and you'll have a sit out.
I think in answer to Mick's question, I mean, I don't think BBO have ever said it was recommended. I mean, I think their official policy has always been that it wasn't how the platform was designed. But as Adam said, lots of people are doing it, and it isn't causing an issue. Yeah, it's certainly an option, and you also have the option of using random players, which some clubs think is worse than having robots, and some clubs think is better than having robots. So there's a number of options.
Trevor from Stamford is keenly waiting. Do you want to say something, Trevor?
Yes, I was just saying, I don't think that unless they've changed it, putting it in a half table doesn't work, because I looked at one club's event where they had used a half table and a sit out, and effectively they got 0 match points on the boards, but it assumed they'd played it. So in effect, obviously, if over 24 boards, it's actually cost those that sit out 4%. So unless BBO have changed it since I looked, that it doesn't work.
That may be the case with the BBO results, but most clubs extract their results, and any of the extractors, I think, would deal with a half table properly. So the end result would be correct, even if what's shown on BBO is not.
Okay.
I believe so. We should be getting close to wrapping up. Are there any very urgent things still to be said? I would like to thank Jackson, Jonathan very much for organising all of this, and I would like to thank our 2 speakers who gave us information about the 2 platforms, and all of you for coming along. I think the numbers indicate that it was well worthwhile having, and I hope that you will be able to go away and cooperate with each other and share information and help get people playing bridge online until such time as they're able to play elsewhere. Jax or Jonathan, do you want to say anything?
I would just, one final thing from me, just to say that if you do have any questions relating to anything we've talked about today or generally, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email and phone number are on the website, Jonathan at EBU, and anyway, you can find the number on the website. But yeah, please do reach out to me if I can be of any assistance.
I do have one question.
Quick.
BBO doesn't seem to handle teams of 6. In other words, swapping in a pair and swapping out a pair if you've got a Swiss team and somebody has to leave the table, or the format that Nicole Cook uses. Is that solved with Real Bridge?
Real Bridge shouldn't be a problem, but it is still at the testing stage. But one of the things about RealBridge is that it has been started by real quite strong players, and therefore it has in mind the more tournament oriented rather than the casual thing, which is why it's probably not correct to have only one platform for everything. But they certainly seem to be the one that is looking at running events aimed at very strong players. So I'm sure that will be something that they will have considered and will sort out.
So you'll be using it for the Spring Fours, presumably?
We'll see. I'm not going to commit to anything yet. We're still hoping that we'll be running the Spring Fours live, but who knows by then.
You're the ultimate glass is half full, Gordon.
We'll see, but at the moment we're making these decisions 3 months in advance. So by February we will know what we're going to be doing for May, and we'll let you know then. Right, thank you all very much. And as said at the beginning, this is recorded. It will be available, so you will be able to see it. And part of the recording is also the chat, so you'll be able to see all the chat as well. We'll get it up on the website. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.